Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is me, Sundar Sanwar, your host for the day. As you know that in our show we talk about education and how we have re-imaged education in the past years. Uh, I always have different sort of educationists with me and they talk about what their experiences have been and how they have evolved and how they have taken this adaptability and these opportunities of developing as an educationist. I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Miss Jennifer Johnson. Jennifer is working at Karachi Grammar School and she is working as a coordinator for digital learning, innovation, and resources. She is the founder of Institute of Skill Enrichment. She's also the program leader of teaching with digital technologies for Cambridge Professional Development Qualifications. She has been an English language and literature teacher. She has done her bachelor's in business administration from Marconi International University 2020, and she's done a bachelor's of arts from Karachi University 2016. She has certificates in educational leadership from the University of Cambridge, professional development qualification, accredited program leader by Cambridge in teaching with digital technology. So a big whiz of digital technology is with me. Jennifer, how are you?
I'm very well, Sundar. Thank you for the detailed and lovely and a very generous and warm introduction. And especially on a balmy, rainy evening, it feels good to hear such wonderful words. Thank you so much. I'm doing very well and hope the same for you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. First of all, it's always very welcoming and very warm when I'm talking to you. You're such a, enthusiastic and fun and aura and positive person that I want to talk to you all the time. Jennifer, as an educationist, I have called you on that platform. So you tell me, what has it been for you to develop and, to become who you are today? So how was this whole journey for you?
Okay, so thank you so much for the good comment earlier, and likewise to you. I like your energy. Uh, so it's been 10 years now that I've been in education, and obviously, it was not something that was planned initially. So I didn't plan my career initially. I just really liked literature, and I was a teenager who fell in love with Shakespeare, reading his works. So that's how it started, and I just wanted to, sort of inculcate that with students, and then I just kept following my passions one after the other. When I went into the classroom as a literary student, when I started sort of teaching, I mean, I still am a student. You can never call yourself a teacher in terms of literature because there's always so much to learn. Then came technology because I'm also very passionate about technology. And I just kept developing my skills, whatever I thought I needed to learn at that point in time to be relevant and up to date with the national and the international demands, career demands of our profession. So I just kept on progressing and I never stopped being a student, and that's just how I kept on going. So it's been 10 years, and I'm pretty sure many more 10 years to come.
Definitely, because we all need a passionate trainer who can, develop teachers with the same instinct of being a student among them as well. I always believe that, teaching is an all-learning process, and we always learn from it. We develop different techniques, we develop different ideas every day, and our methodologies keep on changing. Uh, Institute of Skill Enrichment. Like, what was the idea? Why from teaching literature, linguistics, and language you came towards this?
So it was actually a very big move for me as a person. And at that point in time, I had already been a trainer with the PACC because that's where I started my ESL and training career. And I will always have a lot of regard for my colleagues and mentors there, and especially the place. I have a lot of reverence for that place. So I had been, like you mentioned, teaching language and literature, and then training via PACC as a corporate and teachers trainer. And then I finally realized that I wanted to initiate something of my own. There was a colleague of mine, a very dear colleague and a mentor at that point in time, who had similar plans. So we sort of joined forces together, but then we had different visions, so we parted ways. But despite that, I just feel that my mom also once said to me, "For how long do you want to be a salaried class?" Because she was a mompreneur, which is a mother who's an entrepreneur before this word was even invented, which is back in the late 80s. So I always wanted to do something of my own, and I just felt that I played to my strengths, whatever I was good at. And one of the biggest reasons of doing this was that the sheer lack of tailor-made resources which are available, because we when we take a lot of international training and we take all of that training and we bring it back and we give it to our teachers, the relevance sometimes is missing because of all the problems that we face, which are culturally or societally very, very specific to us only. So to make need-based, tailor-made courses and to create this whole culture that training makes you great, just exactly like physical training. If you're a good-looking person, you'll train, you'll become better looking. If you're a good teacher, you'll train, you'll become great. So that was the ideology behind it.
I love the fact that you say, that you're a trained teacher and then you become, better at it. And I've always been a very, very strong believer of developing yourself professionally. I always believe any person, especially in teaching, it is the most, neglected profession in Pakistan. I still don't know why. I'm so thankful to my university as well because, we train teachers professionally in our B.Ed program. So, talking about tailoring the techniques, I love this term, first of all. I love the term. What exactly is tailoring the techniques? Why can't we not just go with the same techniques?
Hmm. So you see how Google changed the world, because there's this book I'm reading these days and it's called How Google Changed the World. And then the other one that I have after that is How Apple Changed the World. So in the millennial generation, which I'm guessing you are from as well, uh, it's uh, it's like how internet has made information so easy. So earlier, back in the day, teacher was this, this wise sage like persona who was supposed to impart knowledge and information
The one, yes.
towards their students, right? So there was this, you imagine this very, very ancient looking and aged person who has this wisdom and a wealth of knowledge and who's, imparting that knowledge. And there's nothing wrong with that. So
No,
technology
nothing
changed
wrong.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
technology changed that because information is now available at everyone's fingertips. You can Google anything. You don't know the meaning of something, you Google it. You just Google it. I asked my students something, they're like, Miss, ask Google. So that's how they are. You just Google everything. Now in this space where everything is so available and there are open resources and all of that is there, tailor made is basically preferring an individual and a community over the mass appeal. You as a learner may learn differently compared to however many things that I've read. I may have to research a lot, compile a few of them together to meet your needs as a student. And if you have special needs, then obviously I need to be trained according to that to assist you. Likewise, if I am training someone, or if someone is training, wanting to train someone, you have no idea what their background is like. You have no idea the problems they face. How will you be able to assist them with just a manual or a PDF form that you downloaded? Yes, it's very, very important for your research, but then you need
Yes,
to tweak it and tailor it for the recipient of that training to make it accessible to them.
that's
One
so true.
size
I,
does
I
not fit all.
totally
Yeah.
one size does not fit all. That's the same way, especially in Greenwich as well. We have uh, always had different type of courses, and we in Greenwich as well, we make the course line completely tailored to the situation of what we're facing. Our course line in English linguistics, I'll talk about my field, in English linguistics and literature, just changed recently because our teachers were like, HSC has brought this, we have to get this development done, we have to implement this, we are involving this. I totally agree to your point. Jennifer, I've seen so many people having, एक तो सबसे easy है कराची या पाकिस्तान में institute खोलना, to be very honest, to be very blunt about it, but to have an institute and that trains and that gives to the society. I was listening to you yesterday, you told me that you guys are giving free classes, and just for the certificate they have to pay a what 2k or 1.5k amount, and then you guys give them the certificate. So how is it uh, to actually be a very giving institute in this COVID situation?
So you see, the reason it's always been very difficult for me to partner with someone is because I'm a literature teacher. I'm not a mathematician. So yes, I do believe in leading a comfortable life, I do believe that money is very important. Wealth is important. Your net worth is important because it allows you to lead a comfortable life. But it
Definitely.
can't be the foundation or the basic principle. Money is a commodity which accentuates what you already are doing at this point in time, especially if you being a teacher, and I have always wanted something that I also see missing. I wouldn't say in the younger generation, but also in people from my generation or older, is that lack of volunteer spirit. That
So
is
true.
really, really missing. That, if something is not profitable, if something does not give you a financial gain or if it's not a very good barter system that I scratch your back, you scratch my back, it's not going to work. If mutual interests are not aligned, it's not going to work. Why can't we just do something because it will help people? What's wrong with that? So when COVID struck, uh, I saw that many systems, because thankfully at Karachi Grammar School, we were very fortunate. We've been into digital learning, as I was mentioning to you earlier, for 4 years. So for us, it was a skip, hop, jump situation. So we pulled through. It was just a matter of re-strategizing. But I saw many schools and educational institutes, especially the ones that I come from, sort of come to a standstill. And I just
Hmm.
felt that now what to do. And then obviously, I was not the one who initiated it. We see the big wigs. We see Harvard, Yale, Stanford, and all those courses on Udemy and Coursera becoming free. And at that point in time, I hadn't done my research on those courses, but I was just discussing with my team, and I said that we just need to do something and have these life skills and soft skills courses, because at the end of the day, one of our biggest flagship programs, aside from teacher and corporate training, is life skills and soft skills. It's when
Hmm.
you develop those soft skills that enables you to be a better whatever, a better student, a better teacher, a better professional. So for instance,
So true.
time management is a session that we had day before yesterday, on Saturday. It's a skill that everyone needs to learn, especially in this time, because no one can say that I did not have the time to do this, I did not have the time to do that. In these 5 months, we've had ample time to do whatever we wanted or dreamt of doing, if it didn't require any sort of traveling or physical connection. So we just felt that certain skills is something that people need to learn. We need to give back to the community. And people were very willing. I had a lot of my senior ex students who are very qualified now come in and join in, and they love the idea. So you see, once you initiate an idea and you bring it to people's notice, there is a lot of good in the world. It's just a matter of lighting that candle. So if I told
So
you,
true.
Sundar, and I told you that, Sundar, would you like to do a session for me next month? I'm pretty sure you will say yes. You won't start doing math that, okay, Jennifer, if I'm coming, I'm going to charge like
Oh
da
my
da da da
God.
an hour. You know, so it's just that the idea, we thought of it, but whenever we reached out, we didn't have a single no. So I think that
Hmm.
there is a lot of kindness in the world. It just needs
There
to be
is.
explored.
There is. There is. I totally agree to that fact because taking my initiative forward, this initiative was basically Umar's idea. Umar is my mentor, and he always believed that in these depressing times, we need some energy that just helps people understand, people connect together, because everybody was at home. There was no communication. There was like everybody was lost. We were lost at what will
Yeah.
happen next. So I totally agree to the fact that there are good people out there. You just need to have that eye, or you just have to have that energy to attract them. Jennifer, taking your point forward, in you said that people volunteered, people came forward, and people have learned all this. Digitalizing a profession, digitalizing teaching, especially, or keeping technology now in what should I say, in everyone's reach, and all the teachers getting trained for it. You tell me how hard it is.
It's very hard.
It's very hard. I
It's
know.
really hard. So
I know.
you see, I mean, we've been doing it for 4 years now, and I'm saying it's hard still, because
Same. I
uh,
can totally agree.
because nothing which requires a monumental change, or nothing change is always difficult, and it's only when you
Always.
are in discomfort that your learning happens. And being uncomfortable and then making people uncomfortable is the job of the trainer. But then along with that, you have to do it in a very charming and a happy way so that they enjoy the discomfort. So then you have an added baggage of that. So your emotional intelligence must also be on point along with your skill set. So I
Hmm.
feel that that you have to. Uh, it's hard. It's not impossible at all. It just requires a few things. You need to have a vision. You need to have strategy. You need to have some. Everyone will never support your idea. You can't have 100% support. But even if you have a 10%, 15% support, go for it. You don't need the whole world to support you. You just need two, three people, one line manager out of the three people you may be reporting to who believes in you, who supports you,
So
and then you
true.
need to
So true.
focus on your skill and your perseverance and make it happen.
Hmm.
And you
I
can't,
totally
and
second
yeah,
that.
and you also have to have resilience. You can't say that, okay, I did my first session, it didn't go well, second session it didn't go well, third session people are not liking, people are sitting in front of me sulking, what am I supposed to do? There are all of these things that keep on happening, but you have to go back, revisit, re-strategize, change your plan, create a new
Hmm.
plan, keep updating. You have to be committed to your vision, and you need to be resilient, and you need to have patience and perseverance, and then over a period of time it will happen. Now, with COVID, what happened was that COVID didn't give people that much time. They didn't have 4 years, they didn't have months. They had to, if they didn't do it now, there was no coming. So it's like for everyone, it was like crisis management. Oh gosh, there's this crisis. We have to do it right now. So, that crisis management also has taught a lot of people that people who were not willing to listen at that point in time eventually did, and people who did not start their journey. So, for instance, let's just suppose it's all right if someone didn't start their journey 4 years back. Many schools started even before KGS. You know,
Hmm.
they have been digitizing like 10 years back and 7, 8 years back. But the point is, everyone understands that they had to, or they have had to start now, and it's what they are doing in the recent past and in the now that will decide how digital learning will be a prominent feature of teaching and learning in the near future, and in the time that comes in, forward.
Hmm. That's so true. Jennifer, it's always hard, being a teacher and then learning. I've always seen there are two types of people, or there are two types of teachers, I would say. The ones who want to learn, the ones who believe they have learned. I've always seen this two right type of cadres, and it's something very common. It's very common all around the world. Um, Teaching teachers who were already experienced, and I'm talking about teachers who are now 35 plus, and that now they're just going forward. They know that now this is their strength. They know their professional background. They're very strong with what they're teaching. How hard it is, to teach that cadre of teachers particularly.
So that's a very interesting question. Thanks for asking that, Sudhis. I feel that at the end of the day, uh, it's 40% skill set and 60% your demeanor and your approach and your interpersonal skills. So obviously, if you're teaching, or if you're training a batch which is more experienced than you, uh, which means in the number of years, because they've lived longer on the planet, so clearly they would have more experience than you, or they are more qualified than you. But there are a few things that you know more than them, and you are there to impart that that particular skill to them in that given time. So it's very important. I think humility is very important. Just because, and if you always believe that you're a learner, you will always learn more from your trainees than, it will be an equal exchange. You will learn
That's
as
true.
much from your trainees, if not more, than your trainees will learn from you. So I think humility, mutual respect, very prepared, and especially if you have an experienced group of teachers, do your research, be very thorough. You are going there to impress them, because I see many a times, we see as trainers, I see many trainers judging their audience. If they were so good, they would not be in your audience, in your room, being trained by you. So your job is not to judge them or to give them a score. They are the ones who are giving you the score. So having
That's
that
so true.
humility, giving the respect and power to them, and taking criticism with the same grace as the compliment. So
That's so true.
I have this one thing in mind, that if I'm training 50 people, only 5 people will like me and 45 won't.
That's so
45
true.
won't.
You should have this.
I,
You have this mindset. Yes.
yeah. 5 people will like me. Yeah, I know that 45 will like my content. 5 may not like my content, but and like me, only 5 will. So I go with that in mind. So it's always been, God has been kind and people have been kind. So it's always been more than that 1%. So thank God. So I think that you should always never have a chip on your shoulder. Just take everything in the right stride. If someone makes a nasty comment, you be gracious, either respond with humor or just ignore and go on, and then just focus on your work.
That's so true. I love the way, your approach is towards teaching and your learning, because I always believe the teachers who treat all the students equally and they have a same set goal that, this is a class, I'm going to treat them like that. I'm not going to be too judgmental. I'm not going to be the teacher, what should I say, the big name in the class. I'm just going to be the facilitator. I'm going, trying to help them work it out. Jennifer, taking this point forward of teaching, training, digitalizing, all of this together, how much do you think that now, after COVID, the situation of education is going to change?
The post-COVID world is going to be different. The post-COVID education world is going to be monumentally different. Because you
Yes.
see, when COVID hit us, the reason everyone had to take the boat of Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, Zoom, and start, canoeing their way, paddling their way forward, is because they were not prepared. They didn't see it coming. Now, what we have to do as educationists is take this learning, not just take it as an illness that, okay, like someone in the family falls ill and then you take care of them, and when that illness is over, you think everything is hunky dory, everything is fine again, and then you're going to go back to normal because now that illness is over. It's not an illness, it's a lesson of life that we have had to learn. So all the
Right.
learning that we have taken from this, especially as educationists and as leaders, educational leaders and teachers, we can't forget digital learning in 2021, 2022, and go back to the stone age, go back to chalk and talk. Not that we eliminate it, but now it has to be a modern, well balanced and happy marriage between the traditional teaching and learning and the digital learning, and
Hmm.
the plan schedules, the syllabuses, however the CPD, the professional development qualifications. School leaders have a lot of thinking to do and a lot of planning to do, and they should now be prepared that if this thing comes again, or if something else comes again, God forbid this won't come again, how will they handle it? So
Yes.
it's important to realize that the computer is a very integral part of our existence now. We are in the digital age. There is no way of denying it. You have to welcome it into your classroom. You have to hug it, kiss it, welcome it, make it stand next to the whiteboard, next to the blackboard, and do it both ways. I'm not saying digitize each and every class when you go back to school, because I'm sure all of us are missing the chalk and talk. But I would say it doesn't harm anyone to do at least 2 lessons a month. Take your child to the lab, take your classes to the lab, teach them math on the iPad, teach them Urdu on the desktops. All
So it
and
becomes
because you see,
normal, it becomes normal. It becomes a part of, our teaching. I totally agree that uh, my idea of teaching has totally evolved after this. I believe that now, when I'm going to bring my students back in school, or if the school is going to start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one lesson that's going to be completely online. I'm going to make them understand. I'm going to make them, conditioned. जिस तरह हम अपने आप को condition करते हैं ना हर चीज के लिए, we learn and
बिल्कुल
we put ourselves in that environment again and again and again and again. बच्चे को क्लास में भेजते हैं, नर्सरी में बच्चों को क्लास में भेजते हैं, बच्चा रो रहा होता है, I don't want to go, I don't, but we send the child, we let the child experience it, we let the child face that whole trauma of, not staying away from home, going away. Totally agree, 100% agree to that point, that even now, when, we were pitching our B.Ed program for the teachers, my teacher said an amazing thing. She was like, so this, we need to have hybrid learning. We need to have it, even without COVID. I don't care. You need to make sure that the program is going to be pitched up with hybrid learning. Why? Because the teachers who are going to go forward from Greenwich, they should be so expert in learning and teaching, through online, that it develops them, it makes them a better, or it doesn't make them worried about teaching like we got worried about teaching right now.
That is
You know,
absolutely correct, because hybrid is going to take over. And also,
hmm,
since you mentioned about education, something else came in my mind since you were talking about B.Ed, because we have one of our programs is on hybrid at the institute as well, which is something that I developed during this. But other than that, online education, you see, there was before pre-COVID, even people would ask me, why should I do an online degree? Does it still have worth? Because a few years ago, I think 7, 8 years ago, online degrees did not have much worth. Everyone would say that, oh, you done an online master's, oh, you done an online bachelor's, should go physically and do it. But it's also going to revolutionize the perspective and the respect that online education also deserves. So I feel that a
hmm,
lot of online industries would be opening, and more so now. And also, online education, at least for higher education at university level, it's going to be massive.
it's going to be massive. I so totally agree. Sayyid Vakar Hussain has a comment. Very well, Jen. Good speaker. Thanks, Indus. Thanks, Greenwich team, for sharing such informative discussion. Uh, I do agree that these informative discussions and trainers like you that help us develop our more better understanding towards how we're going to take teaching and what teaching is going to be like in the forward years. Taking your point forward, Jennifer, that as you said that we're not going to have the same learning. We're going to develop this whole course where we're going to inculcate both of them. We're going to adapt towards this new learning. Talking about hybrid learning, and talking about those courses which people used to do online, and I especially, I'm very honest. I'm not going to be the person saying, "Nahin, nahin, I was to support it." I was a complete person who was not supporting it. I was not in favor of it. I was the one saying, "Nahin, nahin, nahin, ye kaise pad sakti hu main? I cannot do it. I cannot complete my course or something." Uh, Now I've changed. My mindset changed. My approach changed. Now I see why virtual, universities or virtual courses are so important. Tell me, do you think that in the future, in the past 5 years, you see these degrees actually being accepted, even with this virtual classes?
The online degrees of yesteryears, the yeah.
Yes.
So you see, my bachelor's is online from an American university.
Oh,
My bachelor's in business administration, because you see, I didn't take any break in my career. I started teaching 10 years back, and I never stopped. So all the education that I've done as a student alongside has been with it. So when I could,
wow.
so since I was not going to leave, I could only manage local, and I obviously wanted international qualification as well. So for that, I needed to I had to take it from an international university. So to me, because I was always such a firm believer of it, it's not something that I believe. It's also very important to walk the talk and to practice what you preach. So I did an online degree myself, and in fact I changed mine because it was also for the institute, because I was always the literature students route. O level literature, then A level literature, then bachelor's literature, then everything was just literature, 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 and then my teacher training and professional development qualifications. And then I realized that I needed to do a BBA to sort of bridge my knowledge on how to run the institution effectively, and also to have a better understanding with our corporate trainers, so that I understand when they say ROI, I know they mean return on investment, and it's not like a film or something like that. So you have to keep on learning. So not only did I change my learning style, I also changed my learning degree. So it was both the things. It was totally new. So business administration along with this whole online thing, and I enjoyed it. I'll tell you one benefit, because I can also speak as a student.
Yes.
So there's a lecture that is uploaded, and it's a video. Now let's just suppose someone who's just studying BBA after 10 years of gap of economics. So obviously that child would not be the brightest in that subject, would be very bright in other fields, but not in that subject, right?
Yes.
So if I was physically in a class, and if you were my teacher, and I kept asking you that same questions, but ma'am, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Mm.
Tell me, even if you're the most patient teacher, after the seventh time, you'd perhaps get irritated or just say, "Can you please like just not talk and talk to me after class?" But
I would
if that,
definitely after the fifth
yeah.
time for sure.
So everything was on the smart board and the teacher was explaining and everything was there. I have the luxury of going back and replaying that video 10 or to 12 times to understand that concept, which
True
I
that.
wouldn't have in a
True that.
physical class. Do you get it? So there was this something that was coming, and this is a literal thing. It was it was for 1.2 seconds in that 45-minute lecture, and I just wasn't getting it. And then I'm googling it and I'm YouTubing it, and I'm like, okay, so you know what I decided? I was like, I'm going to watch it as many times until I get it. So I
That's so
actually did watch it about 8 to 9 times, and then I got it. So you see that then you can, because in online education, it provides a few things. A, you can pace your learning at your own,
you can base your
at your
learning.
own
Yeah.
learning ability.
Mm.
Yeah. And second, independent learning. It makes you independent.
That's so true. You have the responsibility, you have the query of your own learning. You need to be your own teacher at that time. That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah, and
I
that
totally agree
relationship
to
that
that.
you develop, yeah, the relationship that you develop with yourself and that intra learning that is taking place, because the teacher is giving the lecture. There's so much on YouTube, there's so many learning software, there's so much on Google, but you still need that online teacher to explain it to you on that smart board. So the teacher, the as learning keeps growing and as they keep saying by 2030 robots will be taking over the world, and if you're not a good digital teacher, the robots will replace you. If
That's so true.
the robot will replace those teachers who are totally archaic, but a teacher who is emotionally intelligent, who has good content knowledge and is tech savvy will be absolutely irreplaceable.
Absolutely irreplaceable. That's a big thing to, tell the audience as well. That, you guys, I always say that teaching is a profession that requires learning throughout. You need the training, you need the, advancement every single stage. Thank you so much, Jennifer. You are an excellent speaker. I felt like I was very shaky when I'm in front of you because, mashallah, you have a very, very good grip on what you teach and what you're training. I really appreciate the time that you've given us, and thank you so much for this amazing small session. And I really, really am looking forward that if you come to Greenwich University and teach our teachers, have a little training session with them, share your skill expertise with us because that'll be really nice, and it will actually help a lot of people as well.
Pleasure. It was wonderful speaking to you, and thank you so much for reaching out, even though we were not connected. And that's again the beauty of social media. And I would really like to congratulate your team and especially yourself for initiating something so constructive in these times. And I'm pretty sure that ISC and Greenwich could collaborate in the future. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for your kindness. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was Jennifer Johnson with us. She is actually a founder of a Skill Enrichment Program Institute that develops teachers to digitalize learning. They help them, they train them, they make sure that the teachers are now going forward with what skills are necessary for 21st century teacher. My whole idea for bringing all sorts of educationists on this platform is to make everybody out there understand that professionalism is something that's very important. Let it be a teacher, let it be a singer, let it be a cook. If you don't have the certain skills to complete or to compete in the profession that you're working in, you kind of go out the circle. You do not have the vision to go forward. In our university, in Greenwich University as well, we have developed the B.Ed program, especially keeping in mind the hybrid learning to make sure that all the students, all the teachers that are coming professionally to enrich their learning, to enhance their learning, is to develop themselves better as professionals. If you have any queries and if you guys have any suggestions towards the program that we have, you may write to me, you may email us. The WhatsApp number, the emails, the registration is all over here. We are offering bachelors, masters, PhDs, MPhils. All of the degrees are over here at Greenwich University. If you have any other queries, please let us know. And thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody learns something from this and they take home something good. Thank you so much, Pakistan Zindabad.